Warning! Warning! Watch out, Daniel. The TSUNADO is coming. After the Japanese Grand Prix, Yuki Tsunoda has found himself at the top of the midfield pecking order, finding himself only 2 points away from the inbred and only 3 points away from Lewis Hamilton, while his teammate has yet to score a point. Now, I have already made a video about the whole Daniel Ricciardo side of this situation, which you should watch after this video, but I thought it would be also a good idea to have a look at this situation from Tsunoda's side. Before this, Yuki was seen as somewhat unworthy for a seat in Formula 1, like kinda how we see Logan Sargent right now, with him seeming to have been rushed into F1 somewhat, with him only finishing 3rd in F2 before being moved up into Formula 1. This wasn't exactly helped with him crashing off at Imola and making contact with Vettel in Saudi, crashing at France, and with him being very aggressive on the radio about the problems the team had been facing, leading to others in the paddock to tell Yuki that he needs to calm down, as his teammate Gasly went on to score many points and even a win at Monza, leading to Yuki being seen in somewhat of a negative light. But it wasn't only bad for Yuki, with many good finishes to cap off the season to get ready for 2022, where it seemed like, again, though Yuki was calmer than before, he was still making mistakes, and many fans were questioning if he was going to keep his seat by the end of the season. This was mostly because of the pressure cooker environment that the Red Bull family was at the time, with Gasly and Albon swapping teams, and the second seat at Red Bull, which was probably Yuki's goal at the start of his F1 journey, was now clearly something that he never really was in the eye line of Helmut Marko for, though that isn't exactly very easy to do with the fact you can never tell which way Helmut Marko's looking. So now we head into 2023, with his teammate moving to another team, and a new teammate in the form of Nyck de Vries entering with a lot of hype behind him after a good performance at Monza the year before. So if Yuki doesn't beat Nyck, we could all be the next one to see him on the chopping block. But we all know how the story goes by now. Nyck underperforms, with him getting dropped for Ricciardo, leading to Yuki being put under even more pressure than he was before. Then Daniel breaks his wrist, and then Lawson comes in, and Yuki's car blows up in each race that Lawson participates in. Great, so Lawson goes on with a pretty good performance, so Daniel then comes back in and performs well for the rest of the season, as Yuki somewhat flies under the radar. And now, we head to this year. Daniel and Yuki are right now under a very big microscope, with Yuki sort of being used as a measuring stick to see if Red Bull would be fast enough to get that Red Bull seat. So all of this time, Yuki has never really been seen as a real threat for that second Red Bull seat, and has always been seen as a tool to see if other drivers are quick enough to keep their own seats. But I think we all forget just how good of a driver Yuki actually is. He has had some amazing great performances, like the P4 finish he had in Abu Dhabi, and how about the string of finishes he had at the start of last season, just either finishing P11 or P10, as Nyck de Vries struggled to even finish a Grand Prix. Yuki would now go and take that AlphaTauri up the standings in a car that just really didn't belong to be there. And now, this season, it's really shown us again why Yuki probably should be seen in a better light than he is right now. Bahrain was an overall pretty good start to the season, besides what happened after the checkered flag, and Saudi was a good race in which he probably could have gotten points if K-Mag didn't create a choo-choo train for most of the race. Then in Australia, he took advantage of the top teams failing to finish and scored points, while his teammate failed to score points down in P12. And now at Suzuka, after an amazing pit stop by the team, which he made sure to tell the team how good it actually was able to take his V-Cub up into the last points positions ahead of Stroll in the Aston Martin. And all this as Daniel even failed to finish because he couldn't use his mirrors properly. Yuki, right now, is probably in the best place he has ever been in his career. He is beating his teammate that was expected to beat him, and has finished in the points in a car that shouldn't be there, in a field of cars so tight together that the speed difference in qualifying can be only 0.02 of a second, and he has proven to be the best of the rest, with even Helmut Marko finally getting his eye in to see how good Tsunoda actually is. So now the question is, what of Yuki's future? Well, I believe for now he's probably going to stay at VCARB, but will most likely have his eyes for the seat at Aston Martin for 2026. And of course, just like every F1 content creator, that is because of Honda. And yes, Honda has stated outright that they aren't going to have an opinion or enforce any rules on who's going to be driving for the Aston Martin. But if Stroll continues to underperform, don't be surprised if Honda had a bit of a push and told Daddy Stroll to get Stroll out of the seat, and maybe start having a look for other drivers, with Tsunoda being a damn good choice. And even if Tsunoda doesn't go to Aston Martin, I think it would be a smart idea and at least make sense for Yuki to start looking at some other teams. What if Sargent can't improve and gets dropped? Williams isn't a bad seat, and it looks like the seat's gonna gain in value as the team has been increasing in pace over the last few years. Haas has been showing some good pace as of late, and if K-Mag pops out another kid, you never know, Haas may be looking for another driver. And though this is a big stretch, how about Mercedes? Yes, Mercedes has other options in the driver market, but they might be looking for just someone to be a seat warmer so they can get Kimi Antonelli ready for F1 in 2026. So what if they got in Tsunoda? Well, Tsunoda's a good driver, and he probably would want to prove himself in a top team, and he could probably get a few podiums here and there. The only real problem I see with this is the fact that he'd be partnering Russell, and both Russell and Tsunoda are sort of known for being quite hot-headed if the team doesn't go their way, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw two Mercedes lying on the side of the track. But either way, Tsunoda absolutely is in the best position he has ever been, and all he needs to do is keep driving the way he's been driving for the rest of the season, and hope that Danny Boy fails to finish more races or not score points. And with the way this season's been going so far, that seems more likely than it ever has. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe so that you never miss a video. And if you're interested to know about what my thoughts are on the Daniels-Ricciardo side of the situation, click on this video here. So, I've been Connor, signing off.